Looks like Marco Rubio is getting nervous about the investigation into the Bidens and is stepping in to protect the deep state. New article from Politico titled Marco Rubio zeroes in on Russia, not Obama. Basically looks like Rubio is trying to argue that Obama or Biden can't be investigated because it would somehow help the Russians. Article from Politico opens saying Donald Trump's allies on Capitol Hill are pushing aggressive new investigations targeting the president's political opponents. Marco Rubio isn't joining the fray, as Rubio assumes the acting chairmanship of the Senate Intelligence Committee. The Florida Republican is distancing himself from a GOP-led probe targeting Hunter Biden. He has declined to embrace Trump's Obamagate claims, and he is warning the Republicans spearheading the Biden investigation not to promote Russian disinformation in the process. Quote, "I'm not going to accuse any member who believes that they are exercising oversight to be colluding with a foreign power," Rubio said in an interview last week. "I will say to you that I think it's pretty clear that the Russians are constantly pursuing narratives that they believe will drive conflict in our politics and divide us against each other." So Rubio, who is supposed to be a Republican, completely ignoring and giving a pass to the Democrats and the baseless deep state investigation targeting the Trump campaign, while attempting the nonsensical argument that somehow investigating Biden or Obama can never be allowed because that is what would drive conflict and division. Also interesting, as this article notes, Rubio's approach provides continuity with his predecessor, Senator Richard Burr, Republican from North Carolina, but ultimately puts him on a collision course with Trump and his conservative allies, who are pushing for a forceful campaign against former senior Obama administration officials, including Joe Biden. So notable that before Rubio, Senator Burr was one of the main Rhino Republicans holding up the Biden investigation, while Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell appointed Rubio as acting chairman of the Intelligence Committee after Burr temporarily relinquished the post amid an intensifying federal investigation into his stock transactions. McConnell said that Rubio was the natural choice, a nod to his decades serving on the panel. Senator Richard Burr is still under investigation by the Justice Department over suspicious stock trades made in the weeks before the ongoing health crisis. Democrat Senator Dianne Feinstein was also under investigation and was asked questions by the FBI, though that probe has reportedly closed. Again, they note that Rubio's concerns about Russian disinformation echo those of Burr, who last year privately told GOP Senators Ron Johnson of Wisconsin and Chuck Grassley of Iowa that their corruption probe into Hunter Biden, the presumptive Democrat presidential nominee's son, could aid the Kremlin's efforts to sow chaos and distrust in the U.S. political system. Rubio's Republican counterpart on the House Intelligence Committee, Devin Nunes, has been hinting at criminal referrals for members of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's team. Rubio is steering clear of those and other efforts that Democrats and privately some Republicans say could aid Russian intelligence. When asked about such GOP initiatives, Rubio emphasized that his panel has jurisdiction over the activities of the intelligence community rather than the FBI or Justice Department, and he urged senators to be wise about the ongoing threat of election interference from Russia and other countries. Johnson, who chairs the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee, has been conducting an investigation into Hunter Biden's role on the board of a Ukrainian energy company, Burisma, and is exploring claims that a Democrat-aligned public relations firm sought to leverage Hunter Biden's role on the board in order to influence State Department policies under the Obama administration. Democrats have said the investigation itself is a misuse of the Senate's resources and simply designed to boost the president's re-election prospects, pointing to President Trump's efforts to prop up the same allegations against Hunter Biden. Critics of the probe have also said it undermines U.S. national security by giving a boost to Russian intelligence and the Kremlin's disinformation campaign to suggest that it was Ukraine, not Russia, intervening in U.S. affairs. As expected, establishment Democrats like Senator Mark Warner are praising Rubio over this. Mark Warner, vice chairman of the Intelligence Committee, commended Rubio for his skeptical posture toward those probes. Rubio and Warner have a close working relationship and have teamed up to tackle Russia's influence in Europe, among other initiatives. Quote, "It's only May, and attempts by foreigners, whether Russians or someone else, to interfere in our elections is only going to get worse," Warner said in an interview Tuesday. "I'm glad Chairman Rubio recognizes that and so far wants to keep our committee from being used in those schemes." Politico article concludes by trying to put a spin on some of the recent big developments in the Burisma Ukraine-Biden investigation. They claim that Rubio's warnings about election interference come as some suspect that it is happening in real time. Russia reportedly tried to hack Burisma, an indication that it was looking for derogatory information about the Bidens. Warner has said Johnson should be careful of potentially viewing manipulated Ukrainian information. In addition, just last week, Andrei Derkach, a Ukrainian MP who has met with President Trump's personal attorney, released recordings of Biden's phone calls with Ukraine's former president, Poroshenko. Both Rubio and Warner pointed to that release as further evidence that Moscow is seeking to interfere in American elections. Warner said it showed there's absolutely good reason to be concerned, while Rubio warned that it could be the first of many efforts in a long, grueling presidential campaign. Quote, "I think as a society we should anticipate that that's the new normal for the time to come," Rubio said, "and we should view everything with massive grains of salt about the sourcing." So looking like Rubio is very worried about some of this information getting out. Interesting that the CIA-backed Washington Post has an article this week referencing 7 former U.S. ambassadors to Ukraine who say they condemn efforts to use Ukraine to sow divisions in the 2020 election. Like Rubio, these 7 former U.S. ambassadors to Ukraine were in part motivated by these recently leaked recordings of phone conversations between then Vice President Joe Biden and former Ukrainian President Poroshenko. The signatories include Marie Yovanovitch, who has regularly attacked President Trump, and William Taylor, a retired former ambassador who was asked to replace her. Quote, "We have worked over the years to build and strengthen the U.S.-Ukrainian strategic partnership established in 1996, the diplomats who served during Republican and Democrat administrations said in the letter. We thus are disheartened by efforts to inject Ukraine into America's domestic politics as the 2020 U.S. presidential election approaches. Those efforts advance a false and toxic narrative, one with no basis in the reality of U.S.-Ukraine relations, in order to weaken the relationship between the U.S. and Ukraine and sow division within our two countries." So it seems Marco Rubio is forwarding a similar message as the Washington Post and establishment Democrats in what looks like a coordinated attempt to protect Biden and Obama. Please leave a comment and tell me what you think about this latest update. If you could give this video a thumbs up, click the like button, that's greatly appreciated, and make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Another reminder, you can also find me over on Twitter for more updates. @RealityReader is my name over on Twitter. And a big thank you again, everybody who has supported the channel over at Patreon or PayPal. Even a few dollars makes a huge difference, helps me keep talking about these issues. Patreon.com/RealityReader or PayPal.me/RealityReader. You can find both links down in the video description where you can support this channel directly. I will follow up soon. Thanks again.